Hi everyone, it's Anne here. So today I'm going to talk about my experience living abroad. I'm from the Philippines and I left for Sweden in 1989 from the Philippines. So the most important thing to think about before you leave your country, your home country, is if you really want to leave your country and if it's your dream and if you have thought of it since you were little. You shouldn't leave your country just because your family wants you to, or just because somebody else tells you that you'll get rich in that country, or you'll have, it should come from you. And as for me, I never dreamt of moving to another country. I was very happy in the Philippines. It never crossed my mind to leave the country, maybe for some travels, but even now I hate traveling. I mean, just transporting yourself from one place to another, I really hate the feeling. Now I could get used to that place. For example, when we go on vacations in the Philippines, I love the Philippines, but the mere thought of me flying, I really don't like it, or just taking the bus or anything else, the train. I just want to live in one place. So, but for me, I think that you should really think a lot before you move, because it's a very big step. You will change your place, not only your place, but the people that you will see every day. It will not be your family, your friends, your classmates, and especially if you live when you're young. I was only 17 when I left, so if you are satisfied with what you have now, don't leave. Maybe only if you are starving, for example, if you are poor in the Philippines. But if you are poor and starving, then you can't go anywhere else, especially in Sweden, because you need money for a plane ticket. It costs you about 7,000 crowns, and that's times 8, that's 56,000 pesos. So you can't really do it when you're starving, but maybe somebody will lend you money and you will have to pay it back. But don't do it if it's because of the money, because you can always earn your money wherever you are. So it doesn't have to be in Sweden or US. If you want, you can save your money when you are working in the Philippines, because if you are frugal, then you don't have to move to another country. I've learned that the hard way, because now that we are living in Denmark, I have realized that you could also be a minimalist or frugal, or I could be in the Philippines. It doesn't have to be here. So yeah, that's the most important thing. But if you do decide to live in Sweden, you have to know that country before going. For example, in Sweden, they do speak English, but it's not their mother tongue. So you have to learn Swedish. So I went to school there, and it took me about 3 months to learn Swedish. I mean, I went to school for 6 months, but after 3 months, people, or the Swedes, were telling me, "Oh, you sound like you're that you were born in Sweden." Yeah, because Swedish is very easy, especially if you love learning languages. So but if you are not that in love, or you're not passionate about learning languages, then it would probably take you at least 6 months, because that's the normal for immigrants coming to Sweden. It will take them from 6 months to 1 year. So if you're not obsessed with languages, that will take you a while. But if you have the time, so then it's all right. And you also have to know that it's very, very cold in Sweden. It's normal that it becomes minus 10 degrees Celsius in winter time, so from November to January, February, and it can even be minus 20 degrees Celsius. Yeah, so as I said, it could be very cold in the Philippines, in Sweden. So for example, when I came in 1989, my family told me that it's very cold, minus 10, minus 20, and like that. But I still didn't listen. I had jeans with me, and a sandal, a closed shoe sandal, and then a t-shirt, jeans. It was a blazer made of jeans, and then also jeans pants and t-shirt and long sleeves. And I thought, nah, it's not that cold, although I know that it would be minus 10 or minus 20 degrees, but I didn't listen. So I really froze when I came. It was October, and then I became sick after 1 week because I didn't, when I came to Sweden, I would study immediately. So I went to a high school, no, not high school, yeah, high school. Although I already started my bachelor's degree in the Philippines, but because I was still learning Swedish, I had to go to high school to learn Swedish. So I didn't wear any jackets. I had it with me, but I couldn't because it was so restricting with a jacket, because when you're living in the Philippines, it's so tropical, so you're not used to jackets and like that. You only wear that in malls where it's very cold when you watch cinema. So I didn't listen to my family, so I had jackets with me, but it took about 1 week before I started wearing jackets. So if you're going to Sweden, you have to be prepared and buy thermo pants, jackets, and thermo boots. Yeah, and if you have decided to live in Sweden, you have to be prepared and save some money so you can travel in tropical places like the Philippines, so that you can have some sun, because since it's so cold in Sweden, you don't get a lot of sun, and you could be vitamin D deficient, as I became. So it's important you go to warm places and do some sunbathing without burning yourself. Or if you don't have money, then you can buy vitamin D3, preferably vegan D3, so you don't pee a lot. So when I think of Sweden, for me it's not the place to live in, but it's the best place to study in. So if you are going to study, I would really choose Sweden. And because when I went to Sweden, I fell in love with the libraries and the universities and schools in Sweden, because when you go to the library in Sweden, of course, because you pay high tax, then the library is free. And when you go to school, there is free food until grade 9. And when you start work, you usually get free fruits at work. Speaking of studying, I say that the perfect place to study is in Sweden, because there is a slow pace in schools in Sweden, because the teachers there are very understanding, and they give you easy to follow instructions, and they are so liberated. I mean, there is no ego. You are on a first name basis with the teachers. You don't have to think that they are an authority or something. And this is important, especially if you're a Filipino, because in the Philippines the teachers and professors are like God, so you have to respect them no matter what. But in Sweden you are quite free to tell them what you think of their teaching and even about them. They won't get offended as long as you're not aggressive, so you can tell them pretty much everything. And if you are a person who likes people who are very tolerant, welcoming and polite, then you're in the perfect place, because Swedes are like that. They are very polite, and yeah, but that could also be negative, because there are many Swedes who are very reserved, and because they want to avoid conflicts. And many people and Swedes are rumored to be cold even, but maybe that's only because they are so reserved. They want to avoid conflicts, so they don't tell you their true feelings, because they are so sensitive. So if you like people who are frank, then maybe you should go to Denmark or other places. So and Swedes also love peace and quiet. So if you do live in Sweden, as I have experienced, you should follow rules and laws so that you don't piss them off. For example, we lived in apartments, so we have learned to not be loud after 8 p.m. and not call Swedes after 8 p.m. because they will tell you right then, and they will tell you straight to your face that you're not supposed to call when it's after 8 p.m. and you shouldn't call either before 8 a.m. in the morning. They will also tell you to not call. So if you learn the rules, then it's okay, but it takes a while, because Swedes are so careful, so they won't tell you right away, especially if they know that you have just arrived in Sweden. So it takes a while before you learn these rules. And Sweden it's almost perfect. The nature is perfect. I mean, there are so many trees, there are many mountains, and if you love such things, and if you love clean surroundings and law-abiding people, then you should go to Sweden. But Sweden for me was like living in Niceville. It was like living in utopia. And before, I would defend Sweden when I would talk to Filipinos during vacations, and also when we moved there a couple of times. And I would tell them, but oh, you know, in Sweden it's free to study, it's free this and that. But yeah, as you know, so you pay high taxes in Sweden, so you don't really get rich in Sweden. So if you want to get rich, it's not the right place, or you will have to work multiple jobs like in the US, but you will also pay a higher tax. So if you have the time, then yeah, why not? One good thing about Sweden is that there is minimal corruption. It's like here in Denmark. So I remember seeing policemen out in the streets, and if you do that in the Philippines, you would think, oh, what is there something wrong? Why are there policemen on the streets? So you would think that, I mean, I wouldn't think, oh, there's policemen, then I'm safe. Not really that, but then I experienced that the police are there to help you, so you don't have to be afraid that something is wrong, and like that. So that's a good thing about Sweden. You are quite safe, especially if you live in cities, smaller cities like outside Gothenburg or something like that. Yeah. But although Sweden is almost perfect, when you mention it to Filipinos, then they will tell you, oh, it sounds like paradise or something. I did get depressed in Sweden. It was too goody for me, and as I have told in another video, I got depressed also because of I was vitamin D deficient. Because I became depressed and something happened at work, so I had to leave. For me, if you're not happy in a country, then you should try another one, or maybe go back to your original country. And I do hope in the future that, yeah, we are able to save money so we can go back to the Philippines. So that's my goal. So I hope this video will help people who wants to live in another country. And I hope, as I've said before, that you think twice before doing it, because I am quite confident when I say this, that you can find happiness in whatever country, as long as there's democracy, of course. So I mean, the grass is not always greener, and you will learn as you get older that, yeah, the best things in life are free. And even if you live in another country, doesn't mean that you'll become happier. And in my case, I didn't. I know that I'm happier in the Philippines. So yeah, just think twice. And if you are happier in Sweden or in Denmark or US, then go for it. But it was just my experience. So I hope it can help you. And if you have experience living abroad or studying abroad, please leave a comment so we can read it and other viewers can also read it. So thank you so much for watching. Bye.